1-2, medians and altitudes of triangles. So the concept of today is a lot like yesterday and the day before, where you have some new vocab built off of old vocab. So we have some new theorems off the old stuff. So the first word here is median. You should kind of remember, median means what? Middle, something about the middle, right? So a median of a triangle says that it has to start at the vertex and then it goes through the midpoint of the opposite side. So the difference between today and yesterday is when we had perpendicular bisector of a triangle, it did not, that's not a great picture, but it did not have to go through a vertex. It could have gone like off on the side somewhere. Okay, so today, the median and what else we're going to say, altitude, they have to go through the vertex. So to help you remember the difference, maybe underline the word vertex. It's okay if you don't, but some people don't. Some people get confused between perpendicular bisectors of triangles and medians and altitudes. Median and altitude have to go through the vertex. Perpendicular bisector does not. Okay? So if you look, this is the vertex. There's the opposite side. It had to have been the median because those two are congruent. It went through the middle, which means there's two congruent pieces. Okay? Centroid is the point of concurrency. That's where three or more lines intersect, right? Point of concurrency for the medians of a triangle. It's also called the point of balance. So tomorrow, my goal is to do a little activity in class where it kind of like makes it a little bit more real for you. And this is kind of cool where we're going to create a triangle and find the centroid on our own using like rulers and stuff. And then when you draw it and you cut it out, you'll balance the triangle on your pencil. And you'll see that it really is the point of balance. It'll balance on your pencil if you do the math right. Okay? So we're going to do that tomorrow. So anyway, if you look, this is a median. YV is a median of triangle XYZ because it goes from the vertex to the opposite side, cutting it into two congruent pieces. Same here, same here. So this right here is the centroid because it's where the medians meet. Does that make sense? Just like the concepts from the other day. So from the other day, we said it was equidistant to the sides or it was equidistant to the vertices. The rule today is 2/3. So the centroid theorem says the centroid is 2/3 of the distance from each vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. All that means is from X to the centroid, so vertex to the centroid, equals 2/3 vertex to the opposite side. So XC equals 2/3 XU. So if I were to make one on my own, I would say from vertex to centroid, so YC is equal to 2/3 what? YV, very good. And then ZC equals 2/3 ZT. Do you guys see how to use that now? So I understand if you didn't have your notes or a note card that would be kind of hard to remember all these different things. But as long as you can do these with your notes, I think you're fine. Okay? Altitude, you should kind of remember that's a right angle, right? So altitude of a triangle has to start at the vertex again, going to the opposite side, making a perpendicular. So these both have to start at the vertex today. Orthocenter is the point of concurrency for the altitudes of a triangle. That's where the altitudes cross. That's where they meet. Have I lost anybody? Okay. We're going to do a couple. In triangle SZU, the big one, UJ is 9. That's already marked for us. VJ is 3, that's already marked for us, and ZT is 18. That is not marked. For some of you, that's going to be hard to see in your picture, and you don't want anything extra, and for some of you, it's fine. So I'm going to just do this and try to let myself know that that's 18. If you don't like that, you don't have to. Just don't forget that it was given to us, okay? So we're going to find these three things. You can find it in any order. It doesn't really matter. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to write down the theorem that I know, and I'll just pick and choose what I need it. You don't have to do that all the time, but I think when we're first learning, it's kind of nice to know. So what is J? It's got a name. Is it the circumcenter? Is it the centroid? Is it the orthocenter? What's the other one? Incenter? What is it? It's the centroid, right? Because that's where all the medians meet. Do you guys see that? So J is a centroid. So what that means is my centroid theorem would be like ZJ is equal to 2/3 what? ZJ is 2/3 ZT. Very good. What's my next vertex of my triangle? Pick one. Pick a vertex of the triangle. the big triangle, SCU. Pick an S or a U. Okay. You guys get that's a vertex of the triangle? The ones on the end, right? We know that. All right, so U to J is 2/3 what? UY. And then what's my third vertex? SJ equals 2/3 SV. Very good. Do you guys understand that because J was my centroid, I know those three things are true? I may need all of them. I may need only one of them. I don't know. But because this is the first question, I wanted to kind of go ahead and put that down. Okay? So question 5 says find YJ. Well, which equation, the first, the second, or third, might, maybe, may help me? Probably the second one, right? That one has a Y and a J in it. Okay, so it's probably that one. So UJ equals 2/3 UY. So if I look at my picture, UJ is what? 9. So I'm going to fill that in. 2/3 is obviously 2/3. What's UY? What's the whole thing? I don't know. UY, I don't know. Do you see what I'm saying? So do you guys want to keep it UY or do you want to call it just like X? Okay, X. So how do I get X alone? What's being done to the X? You could multiply by the reciprocal, 3/2, or you could divide by 2/3. Either way, pick one. So if you have a calculator, dividing by 2/3 is fine. If you don't, multiplying by 3/2 is probably what you would want to do. So everybody is in a math class and we have a calculator, so let's get that out. And take 9 divided by 2/3, or 9 times 3/2, whichever one you prefer. So instead of saying X again, I'm going to go ahead and remind myself that was really UY. And what do we get? 13.5. Not sure why it's doing that. There we go. Good. You should get 13.5. Did I push something? I don't know what's happening. Anybody confused? Well. So is that what they wanted? What did they want? YJ. We found UY. We found this whole thing is 13.5. So how do I find YJ? Subtract the 9, right? If all of this is 13.5 and this part is 9, just subtract. What's 13.5 minus 9? 4.5, right? So YJ is 4.5. Anybody confused? It's not hard. You just have to like set it up correctly, okay? The next question is YU. How am I going to find YU? We already did, right? We found UY. Isn't that the same? So we found it and we didn't even realize it. It's 13.5. We don't have to do that again, right? So this time it's ZJ. Which formula is probably going to help me? The first, the second, or the third? Probably the first one, right? So ZJ is equal to 2/3 ZT. What do I know? I know ZT is what? 18, right? So use your calculator or not, whatever. 2/3 times 18. If you don't have a calculator, you're trying to kind of get yourself ready for the I-step where you can't use it all the time. 3 cancels with the 18. What's 3 and the 18 make? A 6, right? And 6 times 2 is 12. And that's what they wanted. ZJ is 12. Anybody confused? Not too bad? We only have one more. We're not doing the third one. Did I lose you, Alex? Right here? Yeah. Are you okay with the formula? This is the one that we're using. Okay. And then 2/3 times 18, you could totally use a calculator. That's fine. Or 3 goes into 18 6 times. So I canceled the 3. That's really a 1 now. And then that's 12 over 1, which is just 12. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. All right. Everybody good? On this next one, they want the coordinates of the centroid of the triangle with the vertices ABC. So obviously we have to graph it first. On this one, or anything with a graph, typically graph paper is easier, right? If you guys have some and you want to get it out, great. If you want to go grab one, you can. If you want to just sketch it and look at mine, you can too. Whatever works for you today. This is the only question we're going to do, so whatever you want. If you just want to sketch it there, fine. If you need to get up, get up. Okay? So go ahead and graph it, and then we'll see what to do from there. So -111. So even if you're not going to use graph paper, at least graph it on your sketched graph. Make sure you label A, B, and C as well. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, C. Okay. We'll pretend those are straight. Graph your triangle, label your vertices. That's all we're doing. It says find the coordinates of the centroid. So my centroid, I think typically I would call it C, but we already have a C here, so I don't want to confuse you. So I'm going to call my centroid X, okay? I don't know where it is, so I'm going to call it X comma Y, but I'm just going to let myself know in the end I'm looking for an ordered pair. That just kind of lets me know when I'm done, okay? What's the centroid where the whats meet? Where the medians meet, right? So what I need to do is find at least, well, there's multiple ways to do it. I'm going to find one median. I'm just going to start there, okay? You can find any of them, but let's all find the same one. I'm going to find the median of this guy right here. So find the midpoint of AC. Because the median goes through the midpoint, right? Anybody remember a midpoint formula? You average the x's, you average the y's. So you're going to add x1 and x2 divided by 2, and you're going to add y1 and y2 divided by 2. Is that okay? You add them up, divide by 2, because that's middle, right? Divide by 2. Okay? So for AC, it's going to be -1 plus what? 7 over 2. Very good. And then what? 11 plus 6 over 2. Is everybody good with that? Okay. What is -1 plus 7? 6 over 2 is? Three. Okay. I think you guys are just working ahead. That's fine. What's 11 plus 6? 17 over 2 does not reduce, so I'm just going to leave it that way. You can change it to a decimal if you want to, as long as you're not rounding. It doesn't matter. So since we're going to graph the thing, a decimal wouldn't be bad. What's 17 over 2? 8.5. Okay? So what that means is the midpoint of AC is at 3, 8.5. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5. It should have really been here. Obviously, my lines weren't straight. So what that means is my median is here. From B to, let's call it, midpoint 1. Okay? Again, my line AC should be straighter. It should be like this, but that's okay. Are you guys okay? Do you understand that we found the median? We have a couple of options. We could draw the second median and see where they cross. Do I need to draw 3? If they cross in the same place as 2, you could quit there, right? So we can find another median and see where they cross and hope it's pretty. But I'm going to do math instead because this is a vertical line, right? So can't I just do my 2/3 thing? Do you see what I'm saying? So you could draw another median, totally fine. The problem is sometimes they don't cross in a way that we know where they cross, and it's a lot more math than I think what you'd like to do. So instead I'm going to do algebra. So I know my centroid is in here somewhere. I don't know where, but I know it's here somewhere, right? So I'm going to call it, we called the centroid X. I'm going to call it X, but I'm going to put like a question mark, okay? But I know that from the vertex to my centroid is 2/3 vertex to opposite side. So I know BX is 2/3 B to M. From here to centroid is 2/3 from here to opposite side. Do you guys get that? Okay? So I don't know what BX is because I don't know where X is, right? But can't I find from B to M? Can't I find how long that is? I could count, right? So from here up to, this is at 8.5, remember? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. Do you guys understand that was 7.5 units long? If you don't like that, you could have done your distance formula. That's fine too. But the easy one where you're just subtracting two numbers. So take your calculator and take 2/3 times 7.5. Tell me what you get. You get 5, right? Take your time and punch it in. Okay, so from B to X is 5 units long. That's not actually what we wanted, right? We want to know where X is. So if I go from B to 5 units away, that's where X is actually located, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, well, that was nice. I didn't know X was there. That was a happy accident. Okay, so here's where the centroid is. So the question is, what's that ordered pair? So it's 3, comma, count. What is it? 3, comma, 6. Very good. The centroid of this triangle is located at the ordered pair 3, comma, 6. Do you guys need me to say any of that again? Are you sure? Okay. So you could have, again, tried to do like your median, but I don't know where they cross. I don't know that it would have been that easy to see. So if you don't like that version and you want me to show you the other options, I'm happy to do that. Just let me know when we're done, okay? We're not doing the last question, therefore you should be skipping at least one on your homework. I think it already has an X on it. Okay? Did I lose anybody overall? Make sure you use your notes with this section. I know it can be a little bit confusing, but if you use your notes as a guide, then I think you're going to be okay.